Today I wanted to talk about Solar Opposites, the animated sitcom from Hulu that came out 3 months ago. I am a little bit late to the party, but I did see all the episodes in one day, and I will tell you my thoughts on it in this video. But as always, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't watched the video, if you haven't watched the show, go watch now if you don't want to be spoiled. So, Solar Opposites is an American adult animated sitcom for Hulu that was originally actually created for Fox, but I think it stands out in its own right versus other animated sitcoms like Duncanville or Bless the Hearts, which are also new animated sitcoms that came out this year. I'm not saying Duncanville and Bless the Hearts are bad. In fact, I actually think Bless the Hearts is pretty good, and Duncanville is actually decent. Personally, I don't think Duncanville is that good. Mainly because Duncanville is a little bit too generic, in my opinion. Like most of the stories from Duncanville are basically rehashed from The Simpsons. Like, my favorite episode, Redhead Redemption, is basically a rehash of Lisa on Ice. Like legit, I'm not kidding. But I don't even think Redhead Redemption, as good as it is, I don't think it even comes close to how amazing Lisa on Ice was personally. So Duncanville has that sort of problem. While I think Bless the Hearts, I do like it more than Duncanville because at least it's more original in the fact, and I just think the writing personally is better because Duncanville tends to rely on a lot of cheap Family Guy humor, like cutaway gags and those random animal humor with the dialogues, and even the cutaway gags in Duncanville don't even relate to the plot sometimes. So Duncanville definitely has more problems than Bless the Hearts, but I think Bless the Hearts definitely has a bit of a comedy problem. Like, sometimes the moments can feel flat, it feels a little boring. But at least with Solar Opposites is constantly funny. The stories are more original because it's about aliens and not people, like Bless the Hearts and Duncanville, or even to an extent Rick and Morty. Yes, Rick and Morty does have the scientific feel all the time, but it also sometimes lays some subplots that focus just on family bonding, like Beth and Summer or Jerry and Morty, stuff like that. But Solar Opposites does have that integral meaning of kinship because none of these aliens are actually related to each other because they were all just sent to Earth from their planet Shalort because their planet Shalort was in danger, so they were sent to Earth. But I wouldn't say they're family, but Solar Opposites does have a good meaning of kinship as well. So Solar Opposites is created by Justin Roiland and Mike McCann. Of course, Justin Roiland is co-creator of Rick and Morty, and Mike McCann was a writer on Rick and Morty, and these two co-created Solar Opposites. So you can definitely see how it's similar to Rick and Morty in the regards that the art style is very similar. The Solar Opposites definitely has a feeling of sci-fi. Corvo personally is very similar to Rick, except that he's not as smart as Rick. While Rick can literally build anything or do anything, Corvo has yet to repair his spaceship. For example, Rick is always a step ahead of everyone else. That's why he's literally undefeatable. While Corvo, yes, he's pretty smart, but he's not always a step ahead of someone to the fact where he even falls into his own problems as well, which personally makes the stories more relatable in my opinion. And yes, I do like Rick and Morty a lot. It's really funny. But honestly, in my opinion, I just think seeing Rick being a step ahead of everyone at times just gets old and predictable because you already know what's gonna happen. He's just gonna beat everybody. I actually respect Rick and Morty more. I respect it more when Rick actually suffers from something as a result. Like in the season 4 finale of Rick and Morty: Star Wars Return of the Jerry. There's a cliffhanger which leads Rick to think about what he's done, so he actually has some consequence for his actions, and I think that's why Solar Opposites is sort of better in that regards because the characters are more grounded and thus I'm not saying the show is more grounded because the show definitely relies on that surreal shock humor as well, but the characters are more grounded, like they actually have consequences for their actions most of the time. Uh, Unlike Rick and Morty, where most of them get away without consequences. And unlike Rick and Morty, while Jerry is basically the Meg of the show, like Meg from Family Guy or Woodhouse from Archer, Jerry is basically them. I mean, pretty much all Chris Parnell's characters are characters that like to be abused. Like Cyril is one of them from Archer, and he's always being constantly abused. Like you could say Cyril. Well, I mean, Woodhouse is a recurring character in Archer, so yeah, and yes, Archer likes to shit on Woodhouse. But personally, I think Cyril is the Meg of Archer, like where Archer just constantly treats him like crap and stuff, while Rick and everyone treats Jerry like crap. And it's because they're both. It's kind of funny that Chris Parnell does roles like that, because I'm not sure if he's personally insulted by it. Maybe he's not. I personally think he enjoys it. I mean, even Mila Kunis isn't even insulted at the fact that people always say "shut up, Meg" in front of her and stuff, because Meg is known for being abused. Like even D. Bradley Baker, the same thing with Klaus in American Dad. But anyways, I'm getting a bit off topic here. So now back to Solar Opposites and shock humor. So Solar Opposites does use shock humor, but definitely not as much as Rick and Morty, which is good. But I mean, I'm fine with I'm fine with shows using shock humor, but I feel like with Family Guy and American Dad, that shouldn't be fully the show, because like I feel like modern American Dad and modern Family Guy both suffer from just too much shock humor and not enough substance, while Rick and Morty still has the perfect balance of comedy and jokes, shock humor, and character personalities and dynamics. And I think that's where Solar Opposites definitely excels as well. People may criticize Solar Opposites because Dan Harmon is personally not on it, and as we know, Dan Harmon is one of the best comedy writers in the U.S. I mean, he was known for creating Community and Rick and Morty, and like those are considered some of the best TV shows of all time. So I can see why people don't like Solar Opposites, because it doesn't have the same intelligence sort of as Rick and Morty. But personally, I think it's good that Solar Opposites is different. I don't want it to be an exact copy-paste of Rick and Morty, that kind of thing. So I think I've talked too much about Rick and Morty and, American Dad and stuff like that. I think I should move on. So, Solar Opposites features an alien, Kin, Yummy-Lek on the left, Corvo, Jesse, and Terry as they assimilate into life on Earth after crashing their spaceship onto Earth a year before the show takes place, from their planet Short, which was in danger. They're assigned to take a Poopa, who's the yellow creature on the bed, and eventually the Poopa will terraform and eat the Earth. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the Poopa. I think I know the creators teased at Comic-Con at home that that season 2 would definitely explore a little more into the Poopa, because personally I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the Poopa. I feel like the Poopa can be funny, but I don't think I'd want a whole episode dedicated to the Poopa, in my opinion. Personally, I enjoy watching the aliens as well. All of them except Yummy-Lek. Like personally, I do not like Yummy-Lek at all. He I basically think like he's just a smarter version of Chris Griffin, because as we know, Chris is pretty mean. Like, from Family Guy, he's mean, he's stupid, he does stupid things. While Yummy-Lek, like the only purpose of his character is to be mean. So like personally, I feel like his character needs a lot more fleshing out. In terms of the main cast, I mean, yes, Yummy-Lek is smart, but other than being smart and mean, like, what is he? Well, and actually, I think the other 3 aliens are actually pretty good in their own rights. Terry is actually pretty funny in my opinion. He's just a dumb goofball to Corvo's more intelligence and sarcastic tone. But personally, I think Corvo is good too. Corvo's definitely flawed, like I said when I was comparing him to Rick. But I feel like he does have some redeeming qualities on his own as well. And Jesse, who chose to be a female because these aliens don't really have genders, is personally my favorite of the aliens, just because I genuinely like her character. She's just nice to spend time with. She actually gets a lot of the funny lines and jokes, uh, and personally, with what I said with Yummy, his only purpose is to be mean. So and none of the jokes he says aren't really even that funny to begin with. But anyway, our four main characters are here, and usually you also have some recurring characters as well who appear sort of in the background. But I do want to talk about the C plot first before I move on to talking a little bit about the A and B plots of the show. So the C plot has a focus on the wall, where people Yumulek doesn't like. He shrinks them and puts them. He puts them in this drawer. He puts them in his drawer, which is on the wall, of his house, and inside the little nooks and crannies of the wooden house they crashed on, these people build a civilization, and they're basically all people that Yumulek shrink because he just didn't like them or anything. So the leader Tim, there's a leader named Tim who wants change because the wall is basically kind of, I don't know, like a parody of dictatorships, like dictatorships where a ruler comes to power and he has control of the entire area, and basically because the wall, and basically because Yumulek shrink them, and because now they don't have homes to live in or like anything, they have to fight like savages for food, shelter, and everything, and it's basically like going back to the medieval times, basically, except that they're basically shrink to bug size. And the Duke, who is right here, is the ruthless ruler of the wall. And the point of the wall C plot is that Tim and everyone else will rise to power for democracy in the wall, because Yumulek's not going to shrink them back to normal anytime soon. So they basically have to live what they have. But because they're being dethroned to savages because they're living in the wall, they have to fight for rights so then they can live happily in the wall even without their families or whatever, and they just have to make the most of what they can. And they actually worship Jesse because Jesse brings food for them and things for them that they can have while Yumulek isn't looking. So they basically worship Jesse, and they actually dedicate a whole episode to the wall. It's called Terry and Coral Steel Bear, and basically the plot synopsis is a huge mindfuck. It's basically like one of those Rick and Morty episodes from the third season where the plot from the press releases is the complete opposite of or like has absolutely nothing to do with what actually happens. So you do see the wall C plot in some of the episodes, for like maybe like a minute or two, but the penultimate episode of the show is fully dedicated to the wall, and the aliens only make a cameo appearance at the end. So personally, I thought the wall was great because it has its use of visual storytelling. It's interesting. It's personally, I felt like I appreciated the whole way just for being something different. Like it's kind of sort of like a bottle episode of a show. Like Family Guy had a bottle episode. Actually, Family Guy's had a few bottle episodes, honestly, where like the tone is completely different from how the show normally is. Like there's an episode of Family Guy, the 150th produced, called Brian and Stewie, or I think it was produced or aired, but whatever. 150th, called Brian and Stewie, and the episode only has those two characters, and they're locked in a bank vault, and all Brian and Stewie do is just talk and talk for 20 whole minutes. All they do is just talk about the problems, stuff they enjoy doing together. Like even Brian and Stewie, when Stewie asks Brian why he has a gun, and Brian says he has a gun in case he wants to end it all, and then Stewie asks, why, and then Brian says, well, I'm not like normal dogs. I didn't choose to be anthropomorphic. He wanted to be a normal dog, but instead he was born he was born an anthropomorphic dog, which meant he had to behave like a human. And sometimes because the world was too much for him, he has the gun and a bottle of alcohol just so he can have his last drink and end it all. But then Stewie comes in and says that he gives Brian's life purpose. He gives Brian's life purpose, and that his life is still worth living, even if Brian has no control on whether he's anthropomorphic or not. And personally, Brian and Stewie is one of my favorite episodes of Family Guy because it takes the show in a different direction and develops characters that we thought were basically just like sort of one note. Well, I mean, even before in Family Guy, like they had Brian and Stewie were obviously the best of the two characters. So I think making a bottle episode about those two was really great. While with The Wall, yes, it's a bottle episode, but I think The Wall just excels because of its storytelling in general, and its ability to just focus on one whole plot for 20 minutes, and I'm not gonna spoil the ending of The Wall, because it's pretty surprising, but I think if you really want to check out Solar Opposites, it's definitely worth it for The Wall. So personally, I'm going to stop talking about The Wall here. So you have your typical A and B plots. Usually the A plot of Solar Opposites follows Corvo and Terry, like there's one episode where they build a man cave, and then Corvo also built a housemaid robot who doesn't like when they're lazy. So then eventually the robot takes over the city, because she doesn't like it when everyone else was lazy in their man caves. But then you also have other typical big A plots, like with Corvo being a magician and him failing to do the last act of his performance, which basically almost kills him. You have another big A plot where Terry makes Corvo stupid, so because both of them go to school. All Corvo wants to do is study, and all Terry wants to do is party. So Terry makes Corvo stupid, so then he can party. But then Terry realizes that Corvo goes too far, and that he actually wants Corvo to be smart, because eventually then their house is destroyed. And then you also have like typical A and B plots, like with the A plot is of Corvo fixing his spaceship, and the B plot is Yummy and Jesse getting adjusted to how their alien bodies are changing. So yes, I would say definitely Solar Opposites does have some variety in how it follows and is out of the norm for typical animated sitcoms, but I think it can improve, and I'm hoping season 2 does that as well. So I just wanted to show, as always, some funny clips of the show.
Oh my god, we don't have noses!
Tricks aren't enough. I have to be likable? That's impossible. I wish I'd never learned magic. Ta-da!
Yo, check it out! Trash magic!
And the bouquet that turns into doves, that then turns into pterodactyls. Ta-da! Ta-da! Ta-da!
I usually only post breastfeeding reaction videos, but this is sick!
Ta-da! 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 Ta-da!
Okay, this is so amazing. I can't believe it. Our next guest he's so great. He's so great. Please welcome the incredible burn victim Trash Man.
I wanted to be on Kimmel. Solar Opposites will be right back after these set of subsequent advertisements. Now back to Solar Opposites. Unless you spring for expensive Hulu, then there was no commercial break, and this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and is probably quite jarring. Good for you, Mr. Moneybags.
So overall, is Solar Opposites worth the watch? Yes, I personally think it's worth the watch. And I forgot to mention these two characters here, the principal and the teacher, who is actually really funny because in one of the episodes, Jesse and Yumilak get in trouble, and then they think they have to come to school, but then it ends up no one's there except for the principal and the teacher who end up having sex with each other, and then when Jesse and Yumilak accidentally come in and find out, in order from them for getting in trouble, the principal bribes them with getting A's, which is honestly pretty funny, and which is honestly just funny to me. I don't know. Personally, I just find like blackmailing and bribes pretty funny in my opinion. Like there's an episode in Bless the Hearts where Betty blackmails her nemesis when she finds out that her nemesis told a lie on national television, and I honestly thought it was really funny. But overall, I'd say yes, Solar Opposites is definitely worth a watch. Solar Opposites is at least different from most other animated sitcoms. It's just really hilarious. It finds its ways to differentiate itself from Rick and Morty, mostly through the wall. But the pacing is good too because of those extra few minutes it has over the Fox animated sitcoms, which only have 22, and Solar Opposites has 25. And it does have some heart, but I think it could improve there. But I don't really like Yumilak as a character. I'm not fully invested in him, in my opinion. I personally think Yumilak needs a lot of fleshing out. And of course, you can also see my grades for each of the individual episodes right here, which I'm going to put right now. And yes, my favorite episode, of course, was the wall one. But there were other ones that I enjoyed almost as much as those. And of course, there were others that I didn't really enjoy. But even the lowest episode, as you can see from my grades, personally, I think this show is definitely worth the watch. So there you go, guys. You have my thoughts on Solar Opposites. I know this is a pretty long video, me ranting about some other shows. I got a little off topic here, but at least you have my general thoughts on the show. So I want to know what you thought about the show now. So of course you can join my Discord, message me on Reddit, or even just comment down right here in the comments, which I'd prefer. And I hope you guys would subscribe, share, and like these videos. And of course, reply in your comments, and I'll try to get back to you as much as possible. And as for season 2, I know season 2 is definitely coming out in the summer of 2021. I know people get mad at Rick and Morty because of how long the wait between season is. But Solar Opposites, for one, is at 20th Century Fox and not Adult Swim. So Solar Opposites definitely will come out faster because 20th Century Fox is definitely more on the schedule than Adult Swim is, rather than them just taking their own time. And I mean, even Rick and Morty season 5 is supposed to come out faster, which is good as well. So we should be getting new seasons of Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites fairly soon. So again, tell me what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.